Now, when I was a kid, the big thing that happened out in the farm was we were gone away to church for the weekend there, down to Sunday. We go all the way down to church and then hang out at my grandparents' house, open Oma's farm afterwards. And I wasn't there when Gerald Blackburn's combine caught on fire and the El Dorado Fire Department had to come out to the farm and put the combine out. Although I had many days after that playing on the burnt-out old wreck. It was my Millennium Falcon, I kid you not. The combine was the Millennium Falcon. And we had all kinds of different ways to play with that thing. Nonetheless, it turns out the combine fires are a very common thing. We're going to talk about that, look at some video right now. Okay, let's go. There it is. This is bad news.
My God. Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get
Wow. I'll watch the video later. They try mopping this. Agriculture and Lens put this video up on the Facebook, and you can see this combine is fully engulfed out in the middle of the field. He was out there working, and something happened, caught on fire. Now, I'm going to warn you, first of all, that black smoke is incredibly toxic. It'll give you cancer, like, right now, right? So you don't really want to be anywhere except on the other side of that smoke, first of all. Personally, I don't know what you're hoping to achieve with the garden hoses. You have, like, a gas fire, chemical fire, there's plastics burning and things like that going on. The hose isn't going to do much. There you go. Spray the water. So this is called green lining. What you're doing is you're putting some water on the ground itself. But he's getting too close to that black toxic smoke. It's not worth it, man. Stay out of it, really. It's so bad. It's so bad. So, okay. Combine fires happen every year in the grain harvest. So the thing is, combines have changed dramatically in their construction over the past couple decades, right? They got shields, panels, and fuel tanks that used to be made of metal, though, are mostly synthetic, which can easily catch fire. So that's something we have now. There's more plastics and things like that involved. So when the smoldering crop residue comes into contact with the hydraulic leak or fuel, it can start a fire that spreads throughout the combine, it says here in this report I'm looking at. Newer equipment and features have shown some improvements to reduce fires, like they put some of the exhaust, whatnot, and the air intake and whatnot to the top of the John Deere machine instead of down in the bottom where it can suck up dust. What happens is a lot of this dust gets from the grain and whatnot gets into the engine compartments and can be susceptible to sparks. They say about 70% of the fires that start with combines actually come from that dust on the engine. Actually, it's 77% of combine fires start in the engine, right? So don't park your equipment near flashy fuels, first of all. And they're doing something really smart here, actually. They're cutting the grain around, although they're adding dust to it, which is flammable. They're trying to use the combine here to build a bit of a guard around. I saw at the fire in Fort St. John that I was on in 2023, where the farmers literally went and plowed the edge of their field before the fire came, and it had great effect in keeping that fire from getting into the field. So smart tactic here, remove some of the fuel. You got the machine to do it. Good job on that. They're still spraying it with the hose. That's going to have no effect. I'm just going to tell you that straight up. You're going to be watching this video for a long time waiting for them to put it out with a garden hose. It's not going to happen. Maybe some bigger fire department sized hose there could help, but even then, you know, like, that's gasoline, whatnot. Fire is not going to respond well to water given the fact that it's burning from fuel, right? So don't park near the flashy fuels. You got to avoid electrical shorts and static, right? So loose wires and things like that you need to deal with. Keep your combine clean. Of course, like we said, 9,000 grain combine fires in the U.S. were studied. 41% were caused by crop residues. So little bits of dust in there, just like those sawmill explosions we had in BC, where too much dust gets in there and then suddenly one day, boom. Okay, so power wash, that can remove grease and oil and things like that. That can allow the small fire to spread rapidly. You get rid of that stuff, the greases and fuels and whatnot. So keep your combine clean. What else do I have here? Insulate the hot surfaces of the combine, so make sure that they're not touching things that are flammable, especially there. The ignition temperature for wheat can be 480 to 645 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the size of the residue. So you want surface temperatures below 480 Fahrenheit to reduce the risk of starting a fire from the crop residue. So if you can put some kind of guards on top of your machine to keep the engine compartments protected from that dust, sure. Keep flammable crop dust out of there, friends. You don't want to have this happen on your farm at all. So that's just a bit of an example of some of the things you can do. Avoid harvesting during the extreme fire weather. This seems like a no-brainer. Here we got a bit of a fire department now showing up there. They're going to help try to contain this thing. That's the big thing you're going for here. You can't put the combine out. It's not going to happen. You just want to contain it. So removing the fuel, removing the grain was a good one. But you're not done here. You know, keep spraying. Instead of spraying the machine, spray the ground. Soak the ground around. I don't understand why you would spray the machine. Clearly, it's having exactly no effect. It's having no effect, buddy. You're just spraying it, and it's torching off anyways. Look at that fire behavior. It doesn't care about your water all that much at all. So, I mean, let the thing torch off if it wants to. Get out of the way of that smoke and just wet the area down around it as best you can. I mean, these fire rescue guys might have a different opinion. He's at half for water in that machine there. So, suppressing combine fire. Says here a couple things you could be doing. Like, good thing to have cell reception these days. So, pull your machine into an adjacent area that's already been harvested. It's also good to park your machine on something that's not flammable, right? So, like we were saying, the fires can start where they're just sitting still. They've been working all day. They're hot. You park, walk away, and then some of that dust starts burning in there. Good reason to have it parked on a roadway or a surface in your farmyard where fire can't spread from, right? So you want to be careful opening your hatches and doors to gain access to the fire, because that will supply the fire with the increase in oxygen. You don't want that. You don't want to help it in any way. So fire behavior will increase once the heat ruptures the hydraulic and fuel lines. Fire extinguishers pointing them at the base of the flames can help, I guess. Once tires catch fire, it's unlikely the combine can be saved. So, like, that's the case here. The tires aren't burning yet, but this combine is not salvageable. So I think this article gives you some advice as to what you can do. And I'm sure if you look on the Google, you can find other people's advice. But, you know, it says right here, avoid the toxic fumes. So for me, the advice is let the mother frigger burn.
Farming isn't always.
You're not going to put it out.
Happy times, folks.
And that is toxic smoke.
God,
the wind
everybody's
blows
okay
a little
so
direction, you inhale a little bit of that. It doesn't take much of that carcinogenic smoke, and that guy's right there next to it. Really bad plan, man. So, like, I know you're not firefighters. You should have self-contained breathing apparatus on to be dealing with a car fire or a vehicle fire of any kind of thing that has plastics and oils and gasoline and combustion like that going off. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be breathing that smoke. Even that little bit of residue you're getting in there, it's not good for you. So, big time advice there. For me, if like you're not worried about it spreading, I mean, wet the ground down around it and stay the way, man. Like, you're not having any effect, especially spraying the top. It's having no effect. They said spray the base of the flame. Maybe you could have some effect doing that. He's just putting water up on the top of it. He's standing right in the toxic smoke. It's bad. I don't like what these guys are doing at all. Okay, I know they're trying their best, and it's like manly and cool, and it makes for a good video and all. But to me, there's things happening here that I don't feel is necessary. It's not necessary to put yourself in line of that toxic friggin' smoke. So avoid getting too close to the flames, the fuel, right? And then it's got all these other suggestions on here, which, hey, you can go look up if you want. I'm not going to stand here and teach you how to put out a combine fire. For me, it's stop the spread. Stop it from spreading around, right? So wet the ground. If you have a tractor nearby at the plow, do what I just said about what the farmers in Fort St. John did on that fire at the Alberta border we were at. They went and plowed the field there. That kept the fire more or less contained. It's not going to go anywhere as long as the field itself doesn't burn. The field looks very dry, though, so certainly it's a big-time concern. If it was windy, that could become a grass fire big time. But even then, spraying it is having no effect. You're not doing anything. Nothing is putting that fire out that you are doing right now. You're just randomly shooting water this way around, going up and down. It's like you're giving it a bath or something like that, or washing off an elephant, you know, and more than you look like you're trying to attack the fire. So where is the fire the hottest? That's where you need to go. They just used all their water up and had zero effect on that flame. And they haven't put that water on the ground where it could possibly have the effect of keeping that fire contained. So these are just some suggestions for you, because this has happened to me on the farm I grew up on. There was a combine that caught on fire, and this happened, and unfortunately I wasn't there. Oh, Lewis and Clark County, there we go. Now we can see where they are at, Lewis and Clark County. So that gives you a bit of a hint as to where in the world they are down in the United States. Lewis and Clark County, that's probably in Colorado, I would suppose. Colorado, somewhere like that, I would guess. Bet you I could look it up right now. Lewis and Clark County in Montana. Joey is wrong. Lewis and Clark County is in Montana. Okay, so what else is it saying here? Design fire breaks, assuming the flames lengths are capable of laying flat across them in the wind. So get a nice fire break going if you can somehow or another. Where are your fire breaks in this location? You got some roads this way or that. So maybe keep knowledge of, hey, which way is the wind going? Where are the roads? What's that direction? Where are escapes? How can we get out of here if we have to? I think BC Wildfire Service would rather you not try to be wildland firefighters when it comes to dealing with something that doesn't need to be dealt with. Again, I don't understand why you're spraying the machine and not the ground. So do what I was saying. It's called green lining. It's called soaking the ground before the fire can get to it. I mean, now you're starting to see the water have a little bit of effect because like, most of the plastics are burnt off now. The truth of it is, whether they're spraying it or not, that fire would probably only last a couple more minutes. Yeah, the modern combines, they have a lot of plastics and stuff in them, right? Which the one that Gerald had back in the day was probably from 1955 or 1965. It was a pretty old school machine, and it was pure metal. So like, even though it had burned and was no longer usable, the engine compartment was fried, the machine was almost completely intact. Like when we were walking on it as kids, it wasn't some burnt out wreck that was completely blackened and charred like this thing is. It was, you know, you could tell in a few spots around the engine compartment that there had been fire, you know, but it wasn't. And that's the difference between today's machines and the machines of yesteryear, right? The machines of yesteryear didn't have computer components, didn't have plastics, didn't have all these casings, didn't have fancy seats, and all these things that can easily lead to burning. So these guys probably feel like we put it out, but actually almost everything that's going to burn has already burnt off here. And all they succeeded in doing is maybe giving some of themselves cancer. So don't do this shit. You're not going to put it out. You're not going to put it out. Think about it critically. Get on the phone to wildfire service, of course. Get on the phone to your local fire department if you're within an area, if you're protected by local fire. Try to contain it. Spray the ground around. Try to make fuel breaks, which they did. That was smart. How much effect are you going to have actually putting the fire out? Almost none. As you can see, it pretty much burnt as it was going to burn. It's completely just a charred wreck now. So even if they'd not sprayed it, it might have taken only a couple more minutes for it to get kind of the point where it's mostly worked itself out. But look, it's still going. It's still going. And they're spraying right at it. He's spraying right at it, and there's still flames exploding out of it. That just tells you that's not normal. Okay? That's not normal at all. If you're like, you know, in a forest and you're trying to knock down a forest fire and you put that much water on it, it will settle it down. That's not settling down at all because it's gas and fuel and crap like that. Anyways, all you farmers out there, be smart. Combines catch on fire easily. Keep them clean. Store them. Park them in a place where the fire can't spread if they do catch on fire. But number one, keep those machines clean. It's that dust and whatnot all through them. Give them a good spray down once in a while. Take your hose out and spray the machine down before you're doing it because it's on fire. Right? Lesson learned. Okay, everybody. Here be what to do. Hit like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time, okay? Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.